So now we're going to go through each of the different structures inside of the cell, the different organelles. And what I expect you to be able to do is to know what the organelles are and what their main functions are. So the cytoskeleton, the word cyto means cell, and then skeleton, you probably know what a skeleton does, but your skeleton helps support you, give you shape, helps you move. So a cytoskeleton is literally the cell skeleton, and it's all of the networks of fibers and microtubules inside of the cell that give it its shape. So this is going to give it the shape it needs to be in, which again, shape is related to function. It gives it support to help hold up the plasma membrane, the other organelles, and it actually helps to move things around. So the vesicles inside of the cell are moved on cytoskeleton pathways. So starting from the center, we have the nucleus, and the nucleus is the largest organelle. When you look at cells under the microscope, this is the one you're going to see, and it holds the DNA. So all of the DNA is stored in chromosomes, and they look kind of like spaghetti inside of the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, there's a little dense spot called the nucleolus, and that nucleolus is actually what makes ribosomes. There's the endoplasmic reticulum, which is shortened to the ER. You should still be able to spell endoplasmic reticulum. So the endoplasmic reticulum are these membranes that surround the nucleus, and there's two versions. There's the rough and the smooth. And the rough is seen over here, and this looks kind of bumpy because it has ribosomes on it. And these ribosomes make proteins. So the rough endoplasmic reticulum is used for making proteins. The smooth looks different. So it doesn't have these ribosomes on it. When you look at it under the microscope, it literally looks smooth. And so this is for making things like lipids. So this makes lipids, and it stores calcium. It's also helpful in detoxification. One of the places in your body that has a lot of smooth endoplasmic reticulum is the liver, because that's where we actually detox a lot of poisons like alcohol. The ribosome is basically a factory for making proteins. A ribosome can either be free, meaning that it's in the cytoplasm, kind of floating around on its own, or it can be attached like these that are stuck on the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Wherever it is, all it's doing is making proteins, and a ribosome can go back and forth between free and attached. Next we have the Golgi body, and this kind of looks like a bunch of pancakes squished together. And what this does is it packages proteins, modifies them, and then ships them out. So this is kind of like the USPS, the US Postal Service of the cell. So the packages come in on one side, they get modified in these vesicles, and then they get shipped out to the plasma membrane or to be secreted or to wherever they need to go. Lyse, here's that prefix lyse again, which means to break. So a lysosome is a vesicle that has enzymes in it, right? So here's a vesicle, and it would have enzymes in it that are for digesting. So this is kind of like the stomach of the cell. It's going to be able to join with maybe old organelles that aren't functioning, or something it brought in through phagocytosis, and actually break it down. A peroxisome, we don't have a lot of good knowledge about why peroxisomes function, but they do actually help with neutralizing free radicals and some detoxification. The mitochondria. So this is the powerhouse, exclamation point. What this does is it makes ATP. ATP, yay. This is our energy, right? So this is the cell's source of energy. A type of cell that has a lot of mitochondria are things like muscle cells, because they need a lot of ATP for muscle contractions. The mitochondria has two cell layers, this outer membrane and an inner membrane. There's a space between the membranes called the intermembrane space, right there. And then the space inside is called the matrix. So take a moment and reflect on these organelles. Pick 4 and describe them and explain their functions.